We lose you guys?
He's coming back.
He should be back any second.
The power flickered. I hope our power don't go off. Can you got me back, Susan?
You're back.
Yeah, you're back.
About
hon.
that. I just had the best speech in history, and y'all all missed
Yay!
it.
All right, round two. Take
No,
two.
but I was talking to Susan earlier,
Go.
and the training is going to be more on business building tips. Hey, there's Susan. A little bit of mindset, but I'll talk about the pay plan a little bit too, and give you some information on that. But I've got some business building tips that I've kept track of over my 24 years in the industry on things that help me the most and therefore help my team the most. And of course, I'd love some feedback from Susan and some of the other leaders on some of these points that we're going to go over with people. But as you said, Susan, there's a lot of people on here that I haven't met, don't know yet. So real quick, my background, I was in the computer field, I was in IT, I went to college for computer science, was in that field for about 16 and a half years. And Susan, get this, 24 years ago, this past January, I was introduced to direct sales, to a home-based business. I worked it part-time for 2 years. After 2 years, I had replaced my full-time income and decided to go full-time at that time. So this past January was 22 years since I've had to work a job, because of residual income. If you ever learn true residual income, folks, it will change your life forever. I became a grandpa 9 years ago, and I tried to get my daughter to name him Residual. Okay, it puts a smile on your face when you understand what it means. But more than ever, because residual means doing the work one time and getting paid over and over and over, folks, you can build this to a certain level, and especially because our products are so good, you're going to continue to get paid. Your family. In fact, I've said many times recently, I've been excited many times in this industry, but I've never been more certain that we have a true legacy business here. Our owners, guys, I've seen the 50-year plan. They're now working on a 100-year plan. So you can rest assured for maybe the first time ever in your life, you have an opportunity to build a legacy to where your children, grandchildren, your churches, whatever, will continue to benefit even when you're gone from this world. And I don't think anything's more exciting, Susan, than to be able to help people with their health and their finances and change your life and your family's life too forever. Okay. And this particular, Partner Co is our company, folks, but Susan, Frank, and I, we're with a company called RX. And Partner Co, there's 3 or 4 companies went together to form Partner Co. So we've been a part of the same compensation plan and all that now for over 12 years. And so one of the reasons Susan typically asks me to train on the compensation plan, the back office, is because, that's my strength. Okay. We all have our strengths and weaknesses, but as Susan says all the time too, teamwork makes the dream work. So, I know the pay plan inside and out. I know the back office inside and out. I know the structure. I know the industry. Susan Frank is the best builder, the best recruiter that I've ever seen. She knows the ingredients and the products, but she don't have time necessarily to know the back office like I do. The point being, guys, we want to be a team of support to you. And in fact, I'm going to put if you don't have my cell phone number, I'm going to put it in the chats right now. And guys, if you have pay plan questions, back office questions, title advancements, placement, I'm your guy. And I don't say that bragging. It's just that I've been using the same pay plan for 12 and a half years. So I've just gotten to know it. And of course, with my background being in computers and IT, I know that part of it. But if somebody asks me about an ingredient or product, I'm going to call Susan or Carrie Hicks or, somebody else on my team. But the point for you all, use me for those things. If I can help you in any way, since we're not going to go into the detailed pay plan training, if you do have pay plan questions, you're welcome to call me. I have PowerPoints and so forth. I can help you with that. Same thing with the back office, title advancements, anything like that. I'm happy to help. And one of the things I kind of pride myself on, Susan, is returning calls, quicker than anybody. I learned a long time ago, I'm not the best speaker in the front of the room. I'm not the best trainer. I'm not the best with ingredients, but I can be the best support person as far as responding to people and making sure I can help them as much as possible. And I'll do that. Unless I'm somewhere where there's no cell service, you'll get a call back or text back, typically within 2 hours or less. Occasionally I'll be in a corporate meeting and might run into 2.5 hours or something, but that would be rare. Okay, so use me. That's really, really important. Any questions before I get into the actual what we're going to train them? Comments? Susan, Frank, Susan, Cameron, anybody? Okay, I don't have the ability to mute anyone, so okay, somebody got it there. Awesome, thank you, thank you. All right. Well, the first thing I want to talk to you about is, guys, you can sum this business
No,
up.
I think we're just gonna trust.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, we're gonna trust what you're gonna share, Ken.
All right, well, I'm going to go through the list here. And there are some things I know will help you because it helped me over the years. And people tell me all the time, Ken, that helped me more than anything, and that kind of stuff. But just know you've got a support team. Like, we want you to have the best support team. Your Susan Frank and Susan Cameron are number 1 and number 2 in the world right now. And that's awesome. We want you to have the best support team in the world, okay? And that's really, really important to us. And we're going to make sure that happens. Okay, first thing on my list. Guys, I say it all the time. I can sum this business up in one sentence. This business is about being persistent and consistent until you get it in front of the right people at the right time. Everybody get that? It's about being persistent and consistent until you get it in front of the right people at the right time. You notice I didn't say it was about having a certain skill or a certain talent or anything like that. Certainly you want to continue to develop your skills and talents. We say it all the time. This is self-development with a pay plan. Susan Frank's a perfect example of that. Those of you who don't know, when Susan joined the business, she was so shy, she would not get in front of the room. In fact, Todd Rowland and I did her meetings for her in North Carolina, probably the first 3 months or so. And I'll never forget the first time I got there, Susan, I said, will you introduce me? And she was like, you introduce yourself. I'm not getting in front of the room. Now think about that to where she is today. She'll get in front of the room with 10,000 people and not blink an eye because it's changed her life, because she's confident. It's developed. Now, how do you develop those skills? Folks, by doing it. I mean, you can watch, think about a business presentation. You can listen to me and Susan do a business presentation. You can watch a presentation on YouTube. That's helpful, but you'll never really learn until you start doing it yourself. Think about driving a clutch, a 5-speed. Most of you can probably drive one, but do you remember when you first started? You killed the engine a few times, right? But before you knew it, after you practiced it a while, you can pull out in second gear on a hill. But watching me drive a clutch will never teach you. You've got to just do it. And sometimes you're going to mess up, and that's okay. You'll kill the engine a few times, right? But if you're always waiting for, we're going to help you any way that we can. We'll do, Zooms and face-to-faces as much as we can. But guys, if you're always waiting on your upline or somebody to do a presentation for you, it's going to really slow you down. I mean, Susan might be on a cruise the next time you need her to do a presentation. You want to wait 7 days to do a present? No, right? You don't want to do that. And you do have a good team of people to help you. I'm not saying day one, but I have people that, they're in the business a year and they're still having other people do their presentations. That will really slow you down. You've got to learn to do that. And the only way you can learn to do it, or even a Zoom, you'll never learn to do a Zoom until you do one. And maybe you're going to kill the engine a few times. It's okay. People understand that. Okay. So just do it. Any questions, comments on that? Susan Frank in particular. You're muted. Go ahead.
That's perfect. That's exactly right.
Okay. Okay. Now, so I keep saying this business is about being persistent and consistent till you get in front of the right people at the right time. And I know some of you are out there saying, when are my people coming? When's the right time for me? We can't answer that question, but here's what I do know. They are coming. Because here's what I know for a fact, folks. This business is so good. These products are so good. The pay plan is so good. The management team is so good. It's not a matter of if you'll be successful. It's a matter of when. If you don't do one thing, if you don't quit. That sounds so simple. But guys, unfortunately, people quit things. Any of you ever quit an exercise program? Does that mean exercise doesn't work? Of course not. You know, my dad was a pastor. I saw people quit church for the stupidest reasons. Does that mean salvation is not real? Of course not, right? Guys, people are going to quit, unfortunately. But listen to this quote. This I wrote down. I love this. Now, years ago, I wrote this down. Listen real close. Most network marketers don't fail because they're not capable. They fail because they quit too soon. Think about this. It takes 4 years to get a college degree, approximately 7 years to become an attorney, 10 years plus to become a doctor. But then people get in this business, and if they're not a millionaire in 6 months, they quit. Say it don't work. Think about that for a second. Man, it makes no sense whatsoever. This is not get rich quick, but it sure beats not get rich never, as we often talk about. Success will come to those people who give it the time. Now, because of our system of growth and the way our drops work, you can make some doggone incredible money. Really, in fact, I was talking to Barb. I see Barb on there. She's got a lady, if I'm not mistaken, 5 30 packs in like 2 weeks. Man, think about that. 5 30 packs, guys. That's 150 boxes. Where you make like $80, $90 a box. That's like $6,000 just in retail money. I had a guy, Fred Duff just texted me a while ago. Another lady sold 80 boxes in 7 days. I mean, think of it. Crazy kind of retail money before you even get into the compensation plan. But that's one-time money, okay? We want to build that residual income with subscriptions and customers, brand partners who are gathering customers to lead to the long-term residual income that leads to the time freedom that I'll talk about here in a minute. But to feel like you got to be a millionaire in 6 months or a year, or you're failed, or the business don't work, is crazy. I say it all the time. It's 3 to 5 years of hard labor or life without parole. Okay. Unfortunately, so many people take life without parole, and it makes no sense to me whatsoever. And I'm going to get offline with my notes here, but Susan and I were talking earlier. Guys, time freedom is priceless. Okay. Is this business easy? You know, I want to say no, but you know what? If you compare it to anything else, it is pretty doggone easy. I mean, hard in my mind is working 40 years for somebody else, them deciding when you go on vacation, them deciding what your salary is going to be, instead of you being in control of it yourself. That's hard. 3 to 5 years of hard labor, or even 10 years of hard labor. Folks, as I look back on my, Susan will tell you the same thing. I would have worked 10,000 times harder than I did just to get the financial freedom that I'm blessed to get to now. And really what brought that up, Susan and I we both got some illness going on in our families. And we're able to just be at the hospital, be there for the people. We don't have to ask a boss, can we take off? Or we don't have to worry about getting paid next Friday. Guys, that kind of freedom is just priceless. You know, and you hear about financial needs, maybe in your family and whatever. Wouldn't it be wonderful if you could just be the person to meet that need? Prayer is important, guys, but sometimes we're praying for something, we can do it for them, right? No better feeling than to be able to meet a financial need for your church or your family or your neighbor or somebody. But guys, that time freedom is worth it 10,000 times over. So when is your person coming? People come? I don't know exactly when they're coming, but I will tell you a couple tips there. Don't try to talk people into this. Folks, people are looking and praying for what we've got. And while you're trying to talk somebody into it, somebody else is signing up the next superstar, right? It's kind of like if I handed Susan Cameron a deck of cards and I said, Susan, I'll give you $1 million for every ace you show me. Is she going to get a 2 and hold on to it and try to talk it into becoming an ace? No, she knows there's 4 aces in the deck, so she's going through it as quick as possible. Guys, I promise you the aces are out there. And there's queens and kings that'll make you hundreds of thousands of dollars and them while you're helping them. But don't try to talk somebody into it. While you're spending time with the wrong people, somebody else is signing up that person who's looking and praying for what we've got a hold of. So don't be guilty of doing that. And here's something really hard for people to believe, but I promise you it's true. A lot of your success, and in some cases, all of your success will come from somebody you don't even know today. Think about that for a second. You're like, Ken, how's that even possible? Guys, I didn't know Susan Frank when I got started, but I knew somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody. I didn't know Kim Gray, but I knew somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody. You may know that superstar, but very likely it's somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody that's the superstar and the timing's right. Okay. Again, you got to get in front of the right people at the right time, right? There's lots of people who have great potential, but if the timing's not wrong or the season's or the timing's not right or the season's wrong, it won't matter. But just understand that your success more than likely will come from somebody you don't even know, somebody who introduced you to them, right? Or to them, to them, to them. Really, really important. And I have some more training information about that I won't take too long to go over. Some of you have heard me say this quote on the IPA call, but it's so important here. Longevity brings credibility. Let me repeat that. Longevity brings credibility. The longer you're doing this business, the more credibility you have with people. And I promise you, there are people watching. Every single day on the IPA call, somebody says, well, this person's been watching my post for 6 months, this one for a year. Somebody yesterday said it was a year and a half. Think about that. People are watching, so don't quit too soon. I'm going to recommend a book to you. There's a book called 3 Feet from Gold. 3 Feet from Gold. Some of you probably heard of it or read about it. And the summary of it is this. This guy spends a bunch of money, tens of thousands of dollars, and buys all this equipment to drill for gold, to prospect for gold. And he prospects for like 6 months to a year, finds a little bit of gold, but nothing great. He decides he's quitting, sells all of his equipment for pennies on the dollar. The new guy comes in, drills 3 more feet, and strikes one of the biggest gold rushes ever. Don't quit 3 feet from gold, guys. The very next person. Financial freedom is out there for you. And that's not hype. I promise you it's true. Now, I want to shift gears a little bit. Face-to-face meetings. Guys, there's a lot of automation, and we use automation with our posts and our system of growth and all that. And that's important, really important. But it is vital that you create relationships and get face-to-face with people if possible. Get them to meetings, get them to events. When Susan Frank has these meetings at her house, that's not by accident, guys. That's purposeful, that's planned. Because if you use automation only to build a business, it'll drop as fast as it started, okay? You got to create loyalty and trust and relationships so that people don't quit too soon, for example. I can't tell you how important it is to get face-to-face. Also, I mean, even though this Zoom's great, I do much better training, especially on the pay plan, face-to-face, because you can see my excitement. You can see my assurance, my confidence, and feel it, right? And it's almost impossible across the computer. It's kind of like me going to see the Grand Canyon and trying to tell you about it. You got to see it, all right? You got to feel it. You got to be there. So it's really, really important as you're growing your teams, get them to these meetings, especially bigger events, these connect events that the companies have. Our PXP, which is our big convention, it will change people's belief level, and they'll see that this is bigger than they thought it was. But even your local meetings, guys, some tips there. When you're having these meetings, I love this quote. Sometimes you need the meeting. Sometimes the meeting needs you. I'm going to repeat that. Sometimes you need the meeting. Sometimes the meeting needs you. Because you may be like, well, I don't have any guests. I'm not going to go tonight. Huge mistake. You need to be there to support the meeting so that when you've got a guest, you want other excited people there. You want testimonies there. So you need that meeting when you're bringing a guest. But even if you don't have a guest, that meeting needs you. Okay? Really, really important to create that excitement and get people in the room. How can you make sure people are there? A couple tips. Everybody you pick up will show up. Get them in the car with you, right? How are they going? They may no-show you at a meeting. They don't realize you're looking through the window, wondering where they're at. And, you know, they're like, well, Susan's going to have other people. She won't even miss me. But they don't realize you're nervous because you told them there were going to be 10 guests in the room. And nobody showed. Get them in the, if you pick them up, or get them in your rear view mirror. Hey, just follow me in. Her house is a little bit hard to find. You can just follow me in there. See, there's some tips there to get people to those meetings. Really, really important. And then the meeting itself, a couple of real important tips. Very, very, very important to keep the presentation short. Shorter is better. And here's why. The real meeting starts after the presentation. Everybody get that? The real meeting starts after the presentation. By the way, the nervousness also leaves after the presentation. If you're in the front of the room, you might be a little bit nervous about what you're sharing or whatever. But once you get back and you sit down at a table with somebody, man, you can typically, the nervousness is gone. You can share whatever's needed, but you want to get the meeting presentation part 15 minutes or less. If you got extra testimonies, you might run 20 minutes, but please, please, please don't do a 45-minute, 1 hour presentation. Huge mistake, okay? Keep it short. Sit down with the people and see what it is, where they have questions or if they're ready to get started, and get to know them, create that relationship. And I promise you, the worst thing you can do is go too long, right? And in fact, another note here, some of you heard me say this. When you're sharing the business with people, we learned this in kindergarten. It's show and tell, not tell and show. Everybody get that? It's show and tell, not tell and show. If you try to tell, you'll never get to the show. In other words, if you try to talk too much, hey, we get paid 8 different ways. We got 80 products, and give them all the ingredients of the drops. I mean, you've confused them and they're confused. You want to say as little as possible to get them on a 3-way call with your upline, to get them on a Zoom, to get them to that face-to-face meeting. Hey, I'd probably mess it up. Will you ride with me over to Susan's and you can meet some of the leaders and see exactly what we do? What is it that you do? I promise you I'd mess it up. You need to see it. They do need to see it. You probably needed to see it. So if you throw up on them and try to tell them all about it, you probably never get that Zoom. You probably never get them to a meeting. So it's show and then show them and then tell them about it. Don't try to tell them about it first. Hopefully that makes sense to you. All righty, we're getting down towards the bottom here and we'll take some questions, but a couple more topics real quick. Drama. Guys, drama will slow your business down more than anything else. Drama will break up families, church. Don't let that drama creep into your business. I've said it for years, only in this business, 1 minute you're talking about nutrition, and next minute you're dealing with drama on your team. Or in other words, 1 minute you're Dr. Oz, and the next minute you're Dr. Phil, right? And the bigger your business gets, the more possible it'll become Dr. Phil, right? I see some people, I hate that drama, not on this team. That's right, Amber, love it. Guys, as Barney Fife would say, you got to nip it in the bud. Be nice to people if you can. I mean, if they're rude about it, you just got to finally say, I'm going to share this on here. Susan Frank and I were on a call with a lady. Or a couple. This has been maybe a year ago. And the people had just joined and they were supposed to bring a big team and all this. And in the first week here, drama, drama, drama. And here's what Susan said. If you're here for drama, here was, she said, I don't do drama. I'm here to build a team. If you're ready to build a team, I help you any way that I can. But if you're here for drama, I'm not your girl. That shuts it down pretty quick, right? If you're here for drama, guys, you don't have time for that. And I'm not saying that everything's perfect every day. And some people say you got to be positive 100% of the time. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think being positive is important. But negative things can have, a battery in your car has a positive post and a negative post. Without that negative post, there's no power, right? A battery's got a negative and a positive that creates light. So sometimes there's going to be negative, but guys, don't waste your energy on drama and negativity. We can change our life forever, and we're going to deal with drama over here because somebody's sister, whatever the drama is. Just nip it in the bud, I promise you. And that's people being people, but you got to stop it, okay? And this group is incredible. I have some people that they want drama every day. We just stop it, right? One of my last things here, there will be issues, whether it's something in the back office or somebody didn't get placed correctly or there's a long wait on the rep support. Here's what I would tell you about issues. Treat issues like bugs on a windshield. I'm going to repeat that. Treat issues like bugs on a windshield. What do I mean by that? Guys, if I leave my house here tonight and a bug hits my windshield, I don't focus on that bug. If I do, I'm coming to a crash pretty quickly, right? I keep my eyes where I'm headed, keep looking at my goals, and then when I get a chance, I pull off and I take care of that bug, right? Don't focus on the issue. Treat it like a bug on a windshield. Take care of it when you can. If it's something we need to help you with, we'll always do that. But don't let it stop you. Don't freeze and just focus on that. Okay. And I say this almost all the time when I do presentations. Folks, be glad I did, not I wish I had. Take advantage of what you're now blessed to know about here. You truly can change your family's future. And that's not hype. I'm not that person, guys, but if you've ever wished you could be in the right place at the right time, I think it's not only is this the greatest industry in the world, I believe it's the greatest company in the world because of the management team, the products, the pay plan, the upline, the downline. Are there some other good companies out there? Absolutely. There's none any better. None pays anymore. We pay out more than any other compensation plan in the industry, folks. 30% more than the industry average, by the way. Speaking of pay plans, guys, when I'm training on the pay plan, some things you don't understand really until you experience it. There's a couple of patents in the pay plan. There's some unique things in it. And because of that, it's not the simplest to understand. So sometimes it takes a while to gather all the parts of the compensation plan. But here's what you can gather immediately. We pay 30% more than the average company in the industry. It's 50% more than companies like Amway and Herbalife and some of the big ones, right? But even the better pay plans out there, we're 30% more than the average, okay? Everybody can understand that. Having among the best products in the world, I mean, when you got great products that work for people, and then you back it up with the best pay plan, and then you've got our system of growth that helps people make money before they even get into the pay plan, gosh, I just don't know how it can get much better. But we want to be a support system, a team to help you like no other. Okay. I've been talking now for 30 minutes. So I'm going to ask anybody who has any questions on anything that I've covered or something you want to add, or if you have a question on something else, we're open to that. Hopefully I've given you something that'll help you. I know I focus mostly on not quitting.
I do have.
Go ahead, Talia.
Yes, I would like to know for some of my brand partners that maybe they didn't build a network before starting this business, and they had smaller friends on Facebook, and they have been busy doing life, but they want to build this. And I know many people have started from that place. What would be your advice? What are the steps people like that can take? Thank you, Ken.
You're welcome, Talia. You know what? We have this system of growth. The system of growth that you guys are all familiar with the drops is only about 2 years old. Prior to that, we didn't build on social media with PartnerCo or ARX. We didn't have that system. Now that system's wonderful, but I didn't do anything on social media. It was all eyeball to eyeball, belly to belly, face to face, home meetings. And even though social media is awesome and it lets you get to a lot of people quicker, and Zooms make the world smaller, whatever. Even now, Talia, if somebody's within 2 or 3, 4 hour drive of me and they're serious about the business, I want to go sit down with them. And I can tell you, I could give you leader after leader after leader. Prior to the system of growth, they joined at a home meeting. Somebody invited them to their house. Hey, I've got Talia, I would love to get your opinion on it. Here's the kind of things I would say, Talia. Talia, I'd love to get your opinion on something. I think you'd be great at what I'm doing here. Will you come over and give me 30 minutes of your time? Or will you jump on a Zoom and give me 30 minutes of your time? Well, sure. People love to give you their opinion, right? And you share it. Now, that's not as fast as the system of growth, but it still works because people are looking and praying for things. And so that never will face-to-face, eyeball to eyeball go away because of social media. In fact, it's even more important once you do the social media to try to get some face-to-face, even if they're in another state or something, get them hooked up with somebody there or to these meetings. So even if somebody doesn't have, like Kim Gray, she has a lady, I believe she's 70, probably 76, 77 years old, don't even have a Facebook page. Her first home meeting had 22 people at her house. We signed up, I think as last count, 16 brand partners from that first meeting now. Nothing to do with Facebook whatsoever. Don't even have a Facebook page. She got 16 brand partners. Now, are you going to be able to get 22 people at your house at your first meeting? This lady had a lot of credibility, maybe, maybe not. But you know what? It doesn't matter if it's one person. some of you have heard this story. Many of you know Todd Rowland. I'm originally from West Virginia, moved to North Carolina 13 years ago. The guys, Todd drove 7 hours one way to sit down with me at a pancake house in southern West Virginia. Only one other person there, 2 guests in the room. And I'm not bragging on me, I'm just telling you what can happen. I joined that night, and now Todd and I have been working only 2 companies now in 24 years. Somewhere I've had over 200,000 brand partners on my teams. So from one meeting, he had to drive 7 hours. That's a long drive, right? I'm not telling you to drive 7 hours, although I would if you knew somebody's real serious. But way before we had social media. So don't ever overlook eyeball to eyeball, belly to belly, especially since we can get them on Zooms and things now, Thalia, no matter where they're at. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much, Ken. Thank you.
Sure, sure. Anybody else? Anything I can help with?
Ken, Ann here.
Hey, Ann.
I'm in Florida. Thank you for your time. If you had somebody brand new to network marketing based on the actual compensation plan that's in place, would you just have them concentrate in the beginning? I know relationships and all that are important. I know that's part of it, but I'm talking about you want to get them excited about making money right off the bat. So would you tell them to concentrate on the 30 packs?
As much as possible, and especially, this team, and I would say Susan Frank and Susan Cameron could speak to that better than me. It goes back to our strengths and weaknesses. They are phenomenal. Of course, they'll tell you this, but what they have people do is focus on the profit, not the cost. Because a lot of people look at that and say, well, there's no way I can afford $2,400 or $2,500. But when you realize, oh, you can make almost $3,000 when you sell that 30 pack, it changes the whole dynamic there. But absolutely, if they're new, have them focus on the system of growth because it's so simple and duplicatable. I mean, y'all can teach them boards in 30 minutes. They can even set their post up to be automatic, but they cannot afford a 30 pack. They think they can't not afford a 30 pack is what Regina's saying. Exactly. But you still got to develop some wording and some skills. I heard Todd Rowland told a story with Susan Cameron. I believe they were in St. Louis, and the lady was about to leave or something other. Just didn't think she could afford it, was going to do a 4-pack, and before it was over, she was a 30 pack. So it's so fast, guys. When we're doing the compensation plan, 9 30 packs on a line optimizes a line that week. 9 30 packs at 1,500 volumes, 13,500 volume. I don't want to confuse everybody here, but boy, when you're doing 30 packs, you can optimize so quickly, and even in that pay plan. Plus, they're making $70, $80, $90 a box in retail profit, depending on their state and what they pay in taxes and all. But guys, absolutely, and now don't lose people because the 30 pack scared them out the door. If you've showed them the benefits of the 30 pack and they're still going to leave, then you do come down to maybe the 10 pack or the
Right.
4-pack.
Right. Plus the 450 that they get.
That's right.
Yeah. So that adds up to a lot of money plus the retail profit, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Susan Cameron, Susan Frank, anything to add on that? Y'all know that better than I do. I put them to sleep, I guess. We don't know how to unmute.
I have a
Susan?
question.
Susan's probably at a ball game and Susan Cameron's driving. Go ahead, Wanda.
So when I first got started, I had some really good friends, of course, that they just do whatever I do. But, they signed up and they got their 4-pack or 10-pack or whatever, but then they just didn't see the full picture. But now, I mean, like I have built a lot of people under them. I've just been trying to figure out a way to show the value of where they are in that whole tree. And is there do you have like a good approach to I don't know if I can motivate them at this point, but if I would like to just do it.
Here's what I would say about that. And Susan's are welcome to chime in. Motivation's like taking a bath. You got to do it day after day after day. If they aren't motivated by the fact that they know you've placed people under him and chances are there's nothing you can do. I wish there was. Now, occasionally that'll happen. I've said it like this for years. It's easier to give birth than it is to raise the dead. I'm going to repeat that. It's easier to give birth than it is to raise the dead, right? There was one Lazarus. You know who Lazarus was, right, Wanda? But there's babies born every day, every second. There's somebody out there looking and praying for what you got. And we're trying to talk our sister-in-law Jane into doing something. I don't do that.
I'm just
mean,
not sure if they, I mean, like the one in particular, she lives in Seattle, so I've never really got a chance to really, she doesn't really even know what's happening underneath
See, I
her.
would have a conversation if it's especially a friend or whatever. I'm gonna say, Wanda, I know you don't really completely understand what I'm doing, but I've started this and I've placed some people under you, gives you a big jump start on the business. You may only need to build one line because one line's already building for you. You don't really understand that, but I can show you. But if you're interested, Wanda, you can change your life here. If you're not, I don't want to talk you into something you don't see, but I would have that conversation and at least let them know. But if next week I'm having that conversation again and again, I'm going to give birth to somebody new that's excited and that's not draining your time, that's not interested in doing it. And it's okay. The timing's not always right for everybody, right? They may do it come along later on, but some people, by the way, guys, you don't have to. Remember I told you earlier, a lot of your success, maybe all of it will even come from somebody you don't even know today. A lot of people think they got to have their family in. Sometimes family is the worst. They'll call you a nut, right? Remember today's oak tree was once a nut that stood its ground. Next time somebody calls you a nut, today's oak tree was once a nut that stood its ground. Stand your ground here. Guys, but you don't have to have family. I've got 5 siblings, 3 sisters and 2 brothers. 2 sisters are, I guess 3 sisters are customers. None of them are brand partners. That's okay. Sometimes family are jealous of what you're doing. You know, that's not the case for me, but I see that a lot of times. So it's okay. It's hard to be a prophet in your own land. You know, Judas betrayed Jesus after walking with him. I mean, how can that be, right? But it was. So it's okay, family. They'll be glad later on that you didn't quit, because guess what? Like the one, golly, I shouldn't be saying this, but I have one sister and she's borrowed money like 3 times. Be careful about loaning money. When I don't loan it, I end up, if it's a real need, I meet that need. But boy, are they glad I didn't quit, right? So don't feel like you have to have anybody, right? You think that in the beginning, I promise you do, but you don't. It's bigger than anybody. The company don't need any one of us. All of us together can make it bigger, but you don't have to have it. It's okay if they don't join. If they do, wonderful. You don't want to, nobody better to work with than a close friend or family, but guess what? You don't have to have them.
Ken, they're making money though with those people as long as they have the subscription every month, right?
Not only that, but something else in this pay plan, a lot of people may not be familiar with too. We have something called dynamic compression. Now, what that means is, if you're familiar with the matching bonus, where it's 15% first generation, 10% second generation, if I like I did sign up Susan Frank, she's my first generation, 15% matching bonus on her check each week. Well, she signs up Susan Cameron. Susan Cameron's 10% matching bonus. Hypothetically, if Susan Frank were to quit, Susan Cameron would compress up to me and I would make 15% on Susan Cameron's check each week. Most companies, that's called breakage. It goes back to the company, not here. So in other words, if Wanda had 3 people under her and none of them were doing anything and the 4th person on her 4th generation was working, that person would compress up to her just as though those other people aren't even there.
Wow.
But Ann is so right too, guys. If they're using the products, guys, the volume, whether it's from a customer or a brand partner, pays the same. I mean, I have hundreds, probably thousands of customers. I've got some. Rejuvenex is one of my favorite products. That's our clean energy product, if you're not familiar with Rejuvenex. But it helped me quit like a 25-year soda habit when I first saw the company. So the first month I was with the company, I signed up like 100 customers on Rejuvenex. That has now led to thousands of customers. Guys, get this. Some of them I signed up 12 years ago. I've been paid for it month after month, year after year, now decade after decade. In fact, people ask me all the time, Ken, what's the biggest check you ever got here? I say the first one because of your belief level and get paid. And I also would say, get this, how much money are you making, Ken? I don't know. I'm still getting paid for it. No, excuse me. Let me back up. They asked me how much money I made my first month. Okay, how much money did you make your first month? I always say, I don't know, I'm still getting paid for it. Think of that. I had customers I signed up 12 years ago. I'm still getting paid for it month after month, year after year. I had brand partners I signed up 12 years ago who are still working that I still get. Think about that. That's residual income. It blows
Ken,
my
some people in the chat are want to know back office and comp training.
Okay, since it's almost 8:15, we'll set up another day. I purposely went into this leadership training, but we definitely, I have a good PowerPoint. And in fact, I've updated a little bit recently for a little bit more on the savings bonus and so forth. So what we'll do, like the next best Tuesday night, is do a pay plan back office straight training. But I think it's too much to go into tonight. Goes back to what even on trainings, by the way. You know, I talk to you about keeping your presentation short and so forth. The meeting starts after the presentation. People have babysitters they got to get to and whatever. Same thing here, training. Guys, I used to train in computers, and I'll never forget when I first got started, I trained for 2 hours. And then somebody come up after the training and say, Mr. Bailey, how do you turn the computer on again? Yeah, you know, so we want to make sure you understand these basics and so forth. And a lot of it's mindset. I understand that. But like the compensation plan and back off, we are going to train on it, folks, and it's important. But listen real close to this. You can know our compensation plan inside and out. Won't make you a penny. You can know the back office inside and out. Won't make you a penny. I got people on my team right now who know the back office inside and out, who know the compensation, but they're not making any money because they don't do the system of growth. They don't do the daily activities. They're not sharing the business with people. And again, you do want to learn the pay plan so you can teach your people and all that. I'm not saying don't learn it, but don't feel like you got to spend a lot of time, and you need to spend time sharing the business with people so that the pay plan matters to you. Does that make sense? Is that okay, Susan? You don't want me to try to go into all that tonight, did you? After I trained that we shouldn't, then I asked her that.
So
Can
Ken, real
we-
quick, somebody was asking, oh,
So I was just gonna say, yeah, well, let's just go ahead and we'll get with Ken and get something on the schedule, you guys, to do a follow-up to this. I agree. I feel like it's 45-minute meeting.
can we just
It's just
clarify
been-
something?
Just let me know. I always want feedback. I'll take criticism just like is this helped you tonight? Maybe put a 1 in the chat if it's helped you. Or if you'd
Yeah.
rather have the pay plan, put a 2. I'm okay with that. I understand.
Ken, there was a left open question from the question I asked. Can we
Okay.
just, it says, I had mentioned that if they had a subscription, they're still getting paid. The girl that asked the question said, if they don't have a subscription, then that means they're not getting paid on what she's building under them. Is that correct? It rolls up to the person in front of them?
It rolls all up through them. If they're not commission qualified, they don't have a subscription, then let's say somebody under them has volume, it flows right through them up to
There you
you
go.
or whoever.
Thank you.
Anybody who's
way.
active will always get paid when it flows up, whether it's a customer, brand partner. If somebody is 100 levels below you and they put in a 30 pack, that 1,500 volume will flow up through 100 levels, all the way up to whoever is at the top of those 100 people, whatever it happens to
So
be.
if you've been building under somebody and they hop back in with a subscription and they start another line,
That's right.
There-
That's why it's dynamic compression. So if they at any time, they can get commission qualified and start building. They won't lose their spot.
Good.
Was there another
I
question?
love this.
I was trying to follow the chat there. Oh, Susan asked, when they turn the Christian back, they go back into place and it compresses back. That's right, Susan. You got it. And guys, most companies don't do that. Most companies, if somebody quits or whatever, they call it breakage and it goes back to the company. We're going to pay you. We're going to take it to whoever is active and whoever is working. Again, there's not a better pay plan in the industry. We didn't go into the details of it tonight, but we pay out 30% more and it's balanced. Obviously, with retail profits, you can make immediate money, but new volume bonus is upfront money. We have money in the middle, base commission, savings bonus, and then we have money at the end. By the way, is Letty on here tonight? I didn't see her. I know Letty just got her, I think last Friday got her savings or $10,000 savings bonus. I know Barb's getting very close. It's crazy, crazy good. By the way, real quick on the pay plan, on that savings bonus, it's awesome to get that $10,000 bonus. But guys, once you get the $10,000 bonus, you get that extra 15% every 4 weeks. It's like getting a fifth paycheck. Think about that. And it's up to $2,000 if you're maxing that bonus out to, so an extra $2,000 every 4 weeks. That's $26,000 a year from the savings bonus. So although the $10,000 is great, you do what you want to with it. That's wonderful. Guys, it's even better afterward because you're getting another $26,000 a year if you're maxing it out there. But even if you're not maxing, whatever you're putting into it, you get it every 4 weeks. Awesome part of the pay plan. Anything else? Anybody? Susan, Ann.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, if they jump back in, you had said that they can just start getting paid again. That's pretty amazing. I've never heard of any company that does that. They
There
usually
are.
just
I don't think
disappear.
there is any.
Yeah.
It's called dynamic compression. That they have their spot there. 2
Okay.
years later, they can decide, oh, I want to build. They get commission qualified. They can start building. And whatever's under them will remain there.
Thank you.
Very, very fair, always. But again, guys, the very first thing I mentioned, I put my number in the chat. If you didn't get it from Susan or Barb or anybody who has, you're welcome to my cell number if I can help you. In particular, guys, pay plan, title advancement, placement, strategy, back office, things like that. Now, if it's ingredients or nutrition, call Susan and Susan. I'm not your guy there, but we all have our strengths and we can work together and have great support.
Thank you so much, Ken. That was great. And you guys, I relied so heavily on Ken, especially my first several months, and I still do today. So anything like that you have, reach out to him. He's always there for you. And he studies compensation plans for fun
Oh, geez.
to compare. So
Yeah, one of those crazies, right?
he is. All right, you guys. Good night, everybody. Thank you,
Thanks,
Ken.
everybody.
Thank you, Susan Frank. See you later.
Thanks, Ken. Thanks, Susan. Bye, guys.
Thank everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Good night.
Thank
All right,
you.
Susan.
Have
Night.
a great night.